What's going on, guys? Chun is back, and boy, is it late tonight. But I'm still gonna do this narration. Yet another battle for you guys is the 4th gen standard match against krypton998, also known as Black Stride. You guys already know who he is, especially if you hang out on TPX at all. But just a little break before the next episode of the Revenge Killer series. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm leading with Star After. He's going with Ambipom, and I'm gonna immediately switch to Swampert after getting the Intimidate, because I know the Fake Out is coming. That Star After is an old lead that I did want to test out to see if it was still effective. It would be if Machamp was still running around everywhere as a lead, but it's just not the case these days. So, but it does a couple things this battle. So I go back to Star After for a second Intimidate, expecting return, double hit, or U-turn, since this Star After has a little bit of bulk, but he last resorts. So this is an Ambipom set with only 2 moves. So he goes to Togekiss, and I hard switch to Scizor in fear of a second last resort. Not exactly a great matchup for me, since if he's using last resort Ambipom, this set could be anything as well. So I double switch to Swampert, Scout for the fire move, but he goes for Thunder Wave, so I kind of managed to get myself back into a somewhat decent position. Now I actually decided to stay in and set up the Stealth Rock since I wanted up ASAP, and I've already seen one flyer, so there could be more, but he Air Slashes. Now I decided to go to Metagross to take the next Air Slash. I was figuring he didn't have a fire move at this point since he might have went for it already, although that's not necessarily true. A T-Wave could have been just to soften me up, but he actually goes to Lucario, which confirmed my suspicions. So I go for the Meteor Mash. He was probably predicting either Ice Punch or Thunder Punch, but I'm not carrying either one. He actually brought his copycat set, and he copies the Meteor Mash. And I'm actually going to stay in and go for the Earthquake. I was hoping to catch him trying to set up an early Swords Dance, so it worked out anyway. But he is going to bring Ambipom in on the free switch, and did forget to mention to you guys, he kind of did bring his fun team, and this is an earlier version of the team I used against Blingo. Was just kind of just testing stuff out, so nothing too serious here, not a super serious match. But anyway, I go back to Staraptor to get the Intimidate off, and I think it was here I was starting to realize that it wasn't going to be very useful as far as attacking from what I had seen so far of his team. So I was just trying to bluff the Scarf there, but the Fake Out does take me out. So I bring Scizor in on the free switch. The plan here was to force the switch and see what his counter was, so I can U-turn out and bring something else in. Turns out it's Infernape, so I am going to bring Dragonite in. And I'm hoping at this range an Extreme Speed is going to one-hit KO. But I swear every time I face him, his Infernape lives everything I throw at it, just barely, and this is no exception. He's able to get the Stone Edge off. He does get the crit, so it is going to end up OHKOing me. And it is a Life Orb Infernape, so it will be a double down due to his own recoil. I would have lived it if not for the crit, but I would have been able to not do too much else, maybe get another E-Speed off, and that would pretty much be it for Dragonite. So, and Stone Edge does have the higher crit ratio, so he's going to bring Kiss in. I'm going to bring Scizor back in. This time I decided to go right for the Bullet Punch, since I'm positive he doesn't have a fire move. I could have U-turned back to Swampert predicting Thunder Wave, but I didn't want Pert taking more damage in case I needed to face something later. And it worked out because he did end up going for Air Slash. And I maintained the pressure here by staying into Bullet Punch again. He lives the second one and he roosts off the damage, even though I knew he'd live it. And he probably would have lived it even without leftovers. But here I decided to continue the assault and go for Bullet Punch a third time, since I figured I could either stall him out of Roost or get the inevitable crit, and the latter happens. So Togekiss is going to go down, and he's actually going to bring his own Scizor in on the free switch. But I'm going to go to Swampert expecting the U-turn at this point. But surprisingly, he actually Bullet Punches, which kind of threw me off. But he might have misclicked, actually, if I remember correctly. So he has to switch now. So Roar is going to be the best option for me to scout what his counter is to Swampert. So he goes into Vaporeon, but I phase him back out, and he gets Scizor pulled right back in. So now he's actually going to U-turn, which is why I said I think he misclicked earlier. But after he U-turns, he's going to bring Vaporeon back in, but this time instead of roaring, I'm just going to decide to go straight for the Earthquake, just for the damage really. This Vaporeon's pretty bulky, and I don't think at this point I have anything that can hit it super effectively on this team, so at least with this version. Now, Swampert's pretty low at this point, and yeah, I'm aware of the HP bar. But anyway, still no jokes, guys, sorry. But Swampert's pretty low, so, and I have no way to heal it, so I'm going to fodder it out, hoping to catch a Vaporeon on a Wish with Earthquake, but not so. He goes right for the KO with Surf, so I am going to bring Kingdra in on the free switch. Knowing Vaporeon really can't do anything to me unless it has Roar, and even if it does, Vaporeon is just buying time basically if it does that. So I just decided to set up in its face to see if he's carrying Toxic or Ice Beam or Hidden Power Electric. He goes for the Wish, so I Dragon Dance again on the second try because I really want to see his fourth move, but it turns out it is Toxic. So now I know I can keep setting up and then just rest off the damage. So I know the next move here is Protect, so I'm going to go for a third Dragon Dance. And I'm figuring, I know he's got Scizor, but I'm figuring if I can even get to +4, Outrage is going to hurt anything he's got left, including Scizor. So he wishes, and I just decide to keep going at this point. But the Toxic is starting to rack up. Here I knew he'd either Protect or go to Scizor to pass the Wish, expecting the Outrage. So I go for a fifth Dragon Dance. And thinking back on it, I don't think he knew I was Chest Arrest Dragon Dance Kingdra at the time, just because of the way he was playing here. But he decides to Bullet Punch here to try and get the KO with Toxic, which confirmed what I just said, that he didn't know I was Chest Arrest. So I spring the rest here and heal off all the damage and the status and wake up with the Chesto Berry. So now I got a +5 Kingdra that's primed to sweep. So he's going to go to Vaporeon, and here I start playing a little bit reckless. I go for the obvious Waterfall, and he did predict that. And then I decide to lock into Outrage, but he protects. So now here I think that he thought I was locked into it, so he protects again, and he gets it off. But unfortunately, I don't get locked into the move if it doesn't hit, so I switch back to Waterfall just to save the Outrage turns, knowing Vaporeon can absorb it because it's at full anyway. So he goes back to Scizor, predicting the Outrage, but at +5 it's still going to one-hit KO. So now he's going to bring Ambipom out to go for the Fake Out. And here I think for the last couple of turns he was trying to stall Outrage turns and force the confusion, but he ends up resetting the counter every single time. And I'm just saying that based on the way he was switching around and choosing which moves he was doing. So at this point, Kingdra's pretty much just going to clean the game up. He brings Vaporeon back in, but an Outrage will be more than enough at +5 to take it out. And his last is Ambipom. He's going to go for one more Fake Out, hope for the crit. But unfortunately he does not get it. A Life Orb stab Fake Out is just not going to be enough. So I decide here I'm gonna finish it with a waterfall, which confirmed why he was making the moves he was making earlier, trying to stall out the outrage turns. But it was a good game, Krypton. Definitely have a lot of fun doing these. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Just stay tuned for the next episode of the Revenge Killer series, which will be coming up. The next one's going to be a special treat for you guys. It's definitely something different, at least for me, but won't spoil anything. So anyway, until then, guys, Chun is out. Peace.